Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do.
Hi guys, it's a beautiful day out today here in Chicago. I've got the windows open, so hopefully that won't be too much noise interference, but I just couldn't resist because it's just so pretty. It's finally summer here, and it's been such a long winter that I think all of Chicago is just going crazy outdoors because we can't believe that it's no longer frigid and gray and dreary. So the weather's put me in a very good mood. But I've also been doing a lot of thinking lately about the things that make me happy in everyday life. I'm actually teaching a 4-week course in June here in Chicago on creating sustainable happiness for yourself. So if you're in the area, you can check that out on dabble.co. One of the topics that I'm going to cover in this course is something that is so vital for my own happiness, and it was something that I never would have thought would be on my list of things that are vital for happiness several years ago. And that's forgiveness. When we think of forgiveness abstractly, it feels like giving up. I feel like that's the general consensus, the general idea when you think of forgiving someone. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that forgiveness isn't really about the other person. Like, yes, it's nice that we let the other person off the hook, and no longer resent them. When you're resenting someone, when you're feeling anger towards them, you're really not affecting them that much. I mean, to a certain extent you might. If they're close to you and they care about what you feel, you might be affecting them. But you're affecting yourself way more than you're affecting the other person. And especially when it comes down to holding on to resentment and guilt towards yourself, it's much healthier to forgive and release. I recently was in a situation where I was caught gossiping. And gossip is something that I'm trying to wean out of my everyday life. I find that the less negative talk about people, about myself, or about situations that I participate in, the more positive my overall day becomes. And so I've been trying really hard not to gossip and to catch myself when I am gossiping. And I was in a situation recently where I was doing a little gossiping. Nothing too mean, nothing too harsh, but I was still gossiping. And I didn't catch myself, but someone else did. And someone else called me out on my gossip. And my first reaction was that of ego, to automatically want to defend myself, because we want to assume that we're always right, or we want to make it seem to the outside world that we're always right. I did grab that thought and catch it and bring it back before anything came out of my mouth, because I was started to think, oh, what's my defense? And then I was like, wait, I have no defense. I should not be gossiping. And so I kind of just said, oh, okay, you're right. Once I traded in that emotion, I started to feel very guilty and resentful towards myself for engaging in this gossip. And, I was like, gosh, I know better. I shouldn't have been doing that. Started beating myself up mentally. And it could have potentially ruined my entire day. So I took a deep breath and I thought to myself, I'm going to choose to forgive myself for this. And the second that I had that thought and I released all resentment that I had towards myself over this situation, I felt at peace. And that's what forgiveness does. It ultimately brings us a greater sense of peace. Whether you're forgiving yourself or forgiving someone else, if you just take a deep breath and release it. And literally, it might even help to literally breathe it out of you. And so do an open mouth exhale, breathe out all that resentment, breathe out all of that negative emotions towards that person, and just choose to forgive. And choose to release it, and choose to not dwell on it anymore. And I guarantee the more often you practice this in your life, the happier you will feel on a regular basis. So it'll make your interactions more positive, it'll make your thoughts more positive, and that will change the energy in your life and bring more positive things your way. So choose forgiveness for your own happiness. Could you be happy for 100 days in a row?
feel
Follow me on
like
Instagram at Michelle Shea to see how I do.